Hello, everyone. I'm very grateful that you took the time to tune in to today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. Listen, we have a great show lined up for you. I'm your host, Kim Jacobs, better known as the Balance Doctor. And all of our guests that come on, they're either people that have overcome some tremendous odds in their own lives as they balance this thing called life, or they're experts and they're here to share tips and strategies that will help you better balance and manage your life. Grab your virtual seats and let's get ready for some real, relevant, and relatable content on today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show.
It's The Kim Jacobs Show.
Everyone, and welcome to this episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. How are you, Dr. Gail James?
I am doing well. Thank you so very much for having me, Ms. Jacobs.
Thank you for being here, Ms. James. I appreciate it. Very honored to have you today. Where are you located?
I am currently in Jacksonville, Florida.
Okay. So you have nice sunshine around you pretty much all the time for the most part, right?
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
really glad to have you here today. Listen, everybody, we're going to be talking today with Dr. Gail James, and her story is very unique and one that I think a lot of people will glean some pieces of our own lives from. But one thing that she's a mom, she's a wife, she's a pastor, entrepreneur, and a trauma expert. So as she talks to us today, we're going to be able to take some notes and figure out how to apply this to how we're balancing different aspects of our lives. In a nutshell, Dr. Gail, tell everybody what they could expect to hear on today's episode.
They can expect to hear how to go through this journey called life in the midst of obstacles, in the midst of circumstances and trials and tribulation, and still be successful, still achieve your dreams and your goals and your desires. I'm a firm believer in what life gives out to you does not determine who you are. That is determined by what you make of it.
I agree. And I share that same philosophy. No matter what your environment, your circumstances, your situation does not determine or dictate the outcome of your destiny. And that's what I believe as well. That's why we do this show, to encourage people to know that even though you may have to overcome a lot of things in life, ultimately there's somebody else that's been through maybe some of the things you have experienced and they made it to the other side. And what did they do to get there? That missing piece of the puzzle in your life might be provided just from a guest that's right here on the Kim Jacobs Show. So I'm so glad that you're here today, Dr. Gail. And when we come back from this commercial break from our first episode sponsor, I would love for you to take us back to some of your younger years, because it seems like when I was reading that's where it all began for you. So we'll be right back and hear from Dr. Gail James.
My father had 4 of his fingers amputated in a workplace accident. It was the first injured individual I represented, and I knew I had to win that case. When someone walks into my office and they've been injured, I know what they're going through. If you've been injured at work with Hunter and Everett. We've got the experience, so let us help you.
We're back and we're talking with Dr. Gail James. If you would, take us back to some of your younger years and what was happening in your life.
So I was born and raised in St. Thomas, U.S. Virgin Islands. It's a beautiful place many of us call paradise.
Yeah.
And my mom and my dad were together. So I had a 2-parent household. They were married, but my dad met her with 9 other children from different fathers, and my dad himself had 18 from 15 from different women, and he had 3 with my mom. So out of the 3 with my mom, I'm the middle. Okay. 3 girls, and I'm the middle girl. And in the earlier parts of my life, I thought everything was kind of normal, but I say this a lot. Your norm is really not normal, because you think it's normal until you find out how toxic it is.
Right.
And so I was 10 years old. I'll never forget it. And I went to school and I was bleeding. And I did not know anything about a period. My mom never talked to us about it.
Okay.
And I was molested by one of my brothers the Sunday before that Monday. And so I had messed up all my clothes and everything. And I remember my teacher taking me to the nurse's office. And I went in there and me and the nurse got along real good. I would go to her nurse's office at lunchtime, just sit in there and chat with her.
Right.
And so she was like, the teacher told her, I've been trying to ask her what's wrong and she won't tell me. So the nurse told her, go back to the classroom. I got her. She'll talk to me.
Right.
I told her, and I didn't even understand the consequences at the time because I'm 10, so I didn't understand the consequences. Like if I run my mouth, what could possibly happen? So
Right.
I told her, and I remember just hearing sirens, and it was 3 unmarked detective cars that came up in the school. And when they came in, I was looking like I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble. And then my mom showed up. And my mom stood at the nurse's office door with her hand on her hip and rolled her eyes. And
Like upset with you?
yes. Oh, yes. I knew it was over. It was, I'm like, okay, I'm in trouble.
But
And
wait, your mom didn't know that you had been molested, according to what you're saying, by your
no,
brother the day before.
mm-mm.
So
And in actuality, I was being molested by 3 brothers. She did not. She died only knowing about one because of the way she responded. So when the Virgin Islands does thing a little different, it's small. Everybody know everybody.
right.
So they told her, you can go home and try to figure this out. We'll give you a moment because I have an older brother that's a pastor. And, that was our go-to. Our go-to was let him come in and try to solve the problem.
Right.
So he came in and he was pretty upset. And he told my brother, you did something. And my brother kept saying, no. He's like, look at the clothes she got on. She's in somebody else's clothes because she done messed up all her clothes. You did something. And he admitted. At this time, my brother is 21 and I'm 10.
This
So
is overwhelming. I wasn't expecting this. Wait, okay.
yeah.
So at the age of 21, he violates you
Mhm.
and takes your virginity, basically.
Yeah, all three of them had been doing it for a while. And when I told that day, and he admitted it that day, it was me, him, my mom in the living room, and my brother that's the pastor. And he admitted it. And so my mom looked at me. I'll never forget this. She rolled her eyes and she said, you worthless, good for nothing dog. You knew what you were doing and you wanted it. And I was like,
But she said that's to you, the child, the 10-year-old child? And what did your brother that did this say?
he said he did it. So I thought the response was going to be a hug, a kiss, like, I love you. I'm so sorry, Gail, that this has happened. I was like, okay.
Okay. So once it was revealed that yes, I did do this and I'm 21 years old and I did this to my sister who's 10, your mom, according to what you're sharing here, is she decides to put the blame on you
Yep.
and call you names.
Yeah, from
So
that point on, I was the troublemaker. I was the bad seed. I was the black sheep. I told the family secret. Actually, that is exactly what they said to me. I had an older sister that said, she asked me what was going on. And this was like maybe 7 years ago. She asked me, she said, I was already gone from the house. So what happened between you and my brother? And I told her. And she said, oh, I know why mommy was mad because you told the family secret. I'm like,
so this was happening to other people in the family too, but they
I
had
know,
kept it a
I know,
secret?
I know for sure there's another sibling that had went through the same thing, but with 4 brothers instead of 3. Because see, my mom had 12 children, 6 girls, 6 boys. So the girls stayed upstairs and the boys stayed downstairs. But when my mom and my dad was gone, it was a free fall. So I know for a fact of one other sister that I saw with my own eyes, and it was 4 brothers that I know for sure touched her and had sex with her.
So how do you live in that environment and you are 10 and you're trying to convince people that you didn't do anything wrong and you were the one being violated. Now you've told school personnel because you told the nurse, and you also told your mom, and your brother told your mom that he was definitely one that did this. Now, how do you go from there? What happens as far as how you're living under those circumstances?
Human Services, which is the like DCF in the Virgin Islands. It's called Human Services.
Mm-hmm.
So remember, they only gave her a little bit of time to work this out.
Right.
They were going to come back. So they came back and they asked her, and I remember that day just as clear as today. And they said, we gave you time, and it appears that you're going to take the side of your adult
Right.
child
Okay.
instead of your minor child. So I'm sitting there, I'm looking, and they said, put your shoes on, Gail. I'm like, okay. And they took me in a white 15-passenger van, and I was gone.
That day you were separated from the family.
And they put me in the only group home in the Virgin Islands, which is a group home for bad girls. So I went from the pot to the frying pan. I'm in this place, and the girls in there are bad girls. They're promiscuous. They're running away. They're doing all that kind of stuff. And I'm sharing a twin bed with one of them, and she sneaks a dude through the window. And she's having sex with the dude on this twin bed. I'm bumping elbows with them. I'm like, this is not for me. I can't do this. Just as quick as I came in, I went out through the same window the boy came in through. I was like,
how old were you at this point?
I was right around 11. And
so you ran away from the group home at 11 years old.
And I used to babysit for this couple. Mm-hmm. And I went to them. I thought they would keep me. And they cried, and they said, we'd get in trouble. We can't keep you. Yeah. We can't. And I said, please, just help me. And Human Services shows up again. And they're like, you gotta go. We can't just.
And they took you back to the group home.
Yeah. And so I had to stay there. It was the pits. I had to stay there, and I was determined. There was something inside of me that just said, I'm going to not make this be the end of me. I'm going to do something. And I remember I started working after school. I had 2 jobs after school.
And what age was this?
And I'm right at 13, going on 14.
Okay.
And I had 2 jobs after school. And so I leave middle school now, and I'm going to high school. So I went back to the house. I ain't got no place to go.
You went back to the house, to your mom and dad's home. Okay. So you left the group home. You left the group home. You go back home where you feel like, okay, both are horrible, but at this point, I'm going to go back to the least worst experience. That's what I'm hearing.
Yes. Yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
And so I went back there, and I thought my mom had like just got over it or something, but she didn't. And the reason I felt she got over it is because she went down there and negotiated. My brother was supposed to do time, but because I'm a minor, she's my voice. So she's now speaking for the child and the adult, because both of them are kids. And she negotiates community service, probation, and a registered sex offender. I don't think she recognized what being a registered sex offender means, because later on, when she found out my brother's name was all over the internet, she called me and cursed me out.
But she had
So
registered him as the registered sex offender.
yeah, she agreed to those terms. That was the term. He won't do jail time. He'll do community service. He'll do probation, and he'll be a
Right.
registered sexual offender. But she
Hmm.
did not understand that what really that entails. And
Interesting.
so I went back home with her, and I remember class day. I was working 2 jobs after school, and I went to work. I came home, and she broke my arm with a mop stick.
She broke your arm?
With a mop stick. And I was like, I didn't even do nothing. And one of my brothers said to her, Mommy, something white is sticking out of Gail arm. That arm, I think Gail arm is broken. Can I borrow the car to take her to the hospital? She told him, No, I'll break you too. So I'm sitting there, my arm broken. I'm like, I gotta wait till they go to sleep. I'm gonna have to go through the window. So when everybody went to sleep, I threw some clothes in a garbage bag. There was an old black BMW I'll never forget on the top of the road, and the trunk never closed. So I put the bag of clothes in there, and I hightailed to the hospital. I get to the hospital, and they said, "We can't touch you. You're a minor."
You're minor, right? That's what I was thinking. I was like, they're not going to do anything until.
I'm like, "Are you kidding me? No, we can't touch you. You're a minor."
Hmm.
So my mom used to sell fruits and vegetables on the side of the highway. And I remember this guy. He used to always come there and laugh and joke with us. He was 19. And I'm like, maybe I could call him and get him. So I called him and I said, can you please come sign me in at the hospital because my arm broken and they're not even willing to cast my hand. And he came and he signed me in. And so we began a friendship. And what's cool, was really cool. He was there for me, da 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 da. Years later, I'm like, okay, he's like my knight in shining armor. You know, I'm giving him a chance. Wrong move.
Oh, man.
I
Woo.
got thumped, kicked, beaten, hit in the back of the head with a 9mm gun, kidnapped with a 12 gauge and a 9mm, kick in the ribs with steel toe boots, you name it.
This is not normal. This is not a this is not a typical kind of conversation that we're having here. So what I'm trying to figure out is when life like smacks you in the face like this, right? And you have so much turmoil and trauma that some people may not even be able to relate to because everybody didn't experience this level of trauma. When does it turn? When does it turn for you? And how do you make it to the other side? So, yeah, I see all of your comments. Yes, the domestic violence hotline, 800-799-7233. Call your domestic violence hotline if you have any concerns about what you're dealing with in life and you just need some help, some advice. 800-799-7233. And if you're in the islands, it's a different domestic violence hotline because every country has different numbers. But look your local domestic violence hotline up and call. I don't care if you call anonymously, get some help, get to some kind of safety so that you can have a possible outcome. Like this woman that's sitting here today, I'm surprised that God, that you're here, that God definitely spared your life.
It's God. It is God.
Only God. I see, Benita, you said this is so heartbreaking. Yes, I see your comments. This is so heartbreaking. My mom is on. She said, oh my Lord. And I saw, I think it was Lady Justine Hilliard said, what did she say too? Lord be with her. I see all of your comments that's coming in. Keep them coming in. Good morning and happy Monday from Florida. Benita, thank you so much for being here today. Okay. I want to know how this story turns because it's so many different factors lined up against you. And even if somebody, it sounds like, had killed you, I don't know I don't understand really how anybody would have necessarily been accountable given that people were sending you back to the traumatic experience of where it was all rooted and grounded from, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we're going to take a commercial break.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to hear from our episode sponsor. Let's wow, I'm floored actually. So I'm going to take this down, but I want to hear from Confidence Tones, and then we're going to come right back and hear more of your story, Dr. Gail. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Confidence Tones, where we use a proprietary audio development formula called audio immersion to provide an experience that's designed to help quickly and effortlessly generate positive change in the subconscious mind when used correctly. This experience is achieved using 4 primary building blocks: brainwave modulation, invocation of positive emotions, immersive imagination stimuli, and developmental suggestion. We know of no other source in the world that provides the synergistic combination. With a good pair of headphones, you'll be able to immerse yourself into audio that's designed specifically to help you feel better, do better, and live better.
So to learn more about confidence tones, I want you all to take this number down. It's 800-820-0584, or you can visit drjod.com, drjod.com, or visit confidencetones.com and let them know the Kim Jacobs Show sent you their way. And I also wanted to acknowledge our episode sponsor, attorney Charles Everidge with Hunter Everidge Law Firm. And you can reach them, especially if you're in the Carolinas, you're in the Richmond, Virginia area, or the Alabama area. Give them a call at 704-251-2945. And they are eager to serve you, especially if you're dealing with disability, workers' compensation, wrongful death of a loved one. Make sure that you give them a call, okay? All right, so we are back talking with Dr. Gail James. Tell us how you got through this.
Well, I think after the beatings, the domestic violence, I tried to kill myself one day. On 2 occasions, I took a whole bottle of Tylenol, and I did nothing but throw up. And then I drank bleach, and it did nothing but burn my throat. So when I say I know it's God, I mean that with every ounce of me.
Yes.
The only reason you're speaking to me is because of the God that I serve. I've known him since I was a child. And it's crazy, but because I think even though I was ready to give up on myself and I didn't want to be here anymore because it was too much for me, God was like, I birthed you with purpose and destiny in your womb. And so because purpose and destiny is in you, you can try to kill yourself, but you're not leaving until you fulfill what I predestined for you.
Wow.
And so when I turned around, it was my high school graduation. I remember inviting my mom, and she threw the invitation back at me, and she said, I got better things to do with my time. And I thought she was just joking. I thought she was really going to come. And at the time, I was pregnant for the same guy that was, physically beating me. My daughter was born 2 weeks before my high school graduation. I was only 6 months pregnant, and she was only 2 pounds at birth. And they told me she will not live past 1. And I prayed. And I said, God, you brought me through everything else. I know you, and I trust you. And my daughter just made 33 on May 31st.
I know you didn't send me any photos, but I'm so honored to be able to know that she's that age.
She's still in a wheelchair. She's still in diapers. She was diagnosed with cerebral palsy at the age of 1. But I was her primary caretaker for 19 years of her life. We are still very close. I gave her a cell phone. She called me every day. And I just thank God that he gave me the opportunity to be her mother. Because once I became pregnant with her, I decided that I can't do this anymore. This is no longer about me.
That's right.
This is now about her. And so I am now entrepreneur. I own home health care agencies in the Virgin Islands and in Florida.
Oh
And
my
the
God.
reason I do that is because I know what it is to care for a disabled person.
Yes.
I own mental health practices in the Virgin Islands and in Florida.
Mm.
And the reason I'm able to do that is because of the depression and the low self-esteem and trying to commit suicide because I didn't want to live anymore.
Mm.
So I say that to say the very thing that was sent to break me built me.
Well, somebody said, I just want to take a moment. Sabrina said that you are a walking miracle, is what she said. She's chiming in from Georgia. So glad to have you on, Sabrina. And Justine Hilliard, Lady Justine Hilliard said, oh my God, oh my God. And Vernita said, thank God that you're okay and that you're able to make it, that you made it. That's my favorite client, Nicole Ziegler said. Nikki Ziegler said, Dr. Nikki Ziegler. She said, that's my favorite client. Yeah, you all definitely spread the word and let people know that we are on. National Suicide Prevention Hotline is 988 in the States, in the United States. But again, in different countries, which I know this show streams in 100 countries through CTR Media Network. So I want to make sure that you know that you would need to check with your local country code to determine what your national suicide prevention number is. Okay. Wow. Cynthia Lennox is tuned in and she has a new show out called The Cynthia Lennox Show. And you definitely can tune into her new show as well. And she puts a lot of heart emojis on as well. Thank God he brought you through, Lady Justine Hilliard said. Keep your comments coming, everyone. This is, I would like to kind of know what happened with these brothers and what's happening with them today. Did anything ever happen with them violating you, or did they just go on in life? What's the outcome?
Because of the fact that my mom negotiated for that one brother.
Mm.
My mom died in 2007. I forgave her, and I tell people this all the time. I wouldn't be who I am today. I had to forgive her for an apology I would never get.
Yes.
And I learned that, God, I asked God, because I was like, God, why does she treat me this way? Why I'm like the worst thing she ever gave birth to? And he took me back and he showed me when she used to take us to our grandma's house in the island of Dominica, that all 12 of us would be lined up and she'd push all of us out the way and kiss this one specific granddaughter and then come back to us. And God say, that's the same black sheepism she went through. So she's just doing what she know. And then when I was like, why would she let me go through this and like blame me like this don't make sense, God? And he said, look at her life. She has 12 children, but from like 6, 7 different fathers. He said, the promiscuousness, she went through the same thing. You just don't know it because she wasn't brave enough to tell it.
Oh, wow.
And so I was able to forgive her for an apology I never got. I looked her in the face and I tell her, I said, thank you for not aborting me. Thank you for introducing me to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And if those are the only 2 things I can thank you for, they're enough.
Mm.
And so I forgave my mom that in her dying days, I flew to the Virgin Islands every week, $550 round trip. I bought her diapers by the case. I made sure she was taken care of.
Wow. Wow.
Because
Okay.
my job was not vengeance. My job was not revenge. My job is to love in spite of. My job is to forgive in spite of. And I did that.
Wow. And you did that with your brothers too?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
So are you all still?
Many of them don't talk to me.
I was gonna say, are you still connected with them? Do you? So what happened?
The one that was reported, we are very cool. We understood what happened. We forgiven each other, and I've moved on.
Okay.
But the whole family issue is that I'm speaking out. And I told them, I say, y'all keep saying a family secret. This is not a family secret. I'm not going to be dying inside while y'all living your best life. I'm done with that. Those days are gone.
Hmm.
It's the truth. Y'all know it's the truth. And one day y'all gonna have to account to God for it.
Okay. So by you speaking your truth, which is what you're saying you experienced, it actually ostracized you from the family because the family felt like you're doing too much by telling stuff
Yeah.
that should stay in the family household.
Yeah.
Even though it was against the law, not, it's against the rules and regulations of the land to even be able to have these incidents happen, right?
Exactly.
Wow. Well, kudos to you for coming up and talking to share your story because it's a very heartbreaking situation. And I would like to know, how do you proceed when life is throwing you these kind of curveballs? How do you decide that I'm going to still keep pursuing my goals and my dreams no matter what odds are against me? How did you do that so that other people can be encouraged by it?
What worked for me was I made my haters my motivators. So you say I can't do it, I'ma do it. You
Oh,
say
please
I'm
type
not
that,
gonna
Mackenzie, in
do
the
it,
back. Make
yeah,
your haters your
your motivator.
motivators. Okay.
I was
Wow.
like everything they said I couldn't do. My first, I've always been an entrepreneur. And my first business at the age of 23, 24 was bringing in $600,000 a year. Everything I set out to do, I went head first because I was like, they're betting on me losing. They're betting on me not being nothing. So I'm going to do that and some.
Wow. Okay. So tell us about your first business and what that, I know you were saying you were doing mental health, home health agency, different things. So what was the business that
My,
catapulted you to this?
my first business was group homes for the mentally and the physically disabled because of my daughter.
Awesome.
So that's why I say my advice to anyone watching would be understand that what you're going through is not going to last forever. And there is something in that tormenting, depressing, uncomfortable process that God needs to build your character to take you to where he desires to take you. Because I would not be able to care for disabled people if I didn't have a disabled daughter. I
Right.
would not be able to be a good therapist if I did not went through something that almost made me lose my mind. I
That's
would
good.
not be able to care for people that are in wheelchairs and disabled if I didn't do it with my daughter. So now I have home health care agencies.
Yeah.
I'm a multimillionaire right now because of my businesses, because what was meant to break me literally built me.
See, and now, so see, it's interesting you're saying that. With me, I wouldn't be the balance doctor without all of the different hats that I wear. My son just literally yesterday, they announced his Make-A-Wish because his dream is going to come true. But people don't understand that when Make-A-Wish is involved, that means that it's some serious stuff happening, some real serious stuff going on, right? And I don't want to cry, so and this is not my episode. But I have 3 children that deal with this particular type of disease. And they are warriors. They look at it very optimistically. But at the end of the day, we all know that it's some other things behind the scenes that you may not know of just because you see the smiling faces, right? And then to have a son transition, many of people know about my son Gabe. It it's a lot of different hats that I have to wear in order to be called the balance doctor, right? And then
Yeah,
teaching people how to start their own shows from
yeah,
scratch. All of these different hats, but it comes with a price, you know?
yes, it does. It
It comes
does.
with a price.
And you're wearing it well. You're wearing it well.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So, again, this is not an interview with Kim, it's an interview with Dr. Gail James. And we're going to take another commercial break. And when we come back, let's see. I'm learning so much about you, but what is your motivation to do more and to become the best version of yourself? Because I see how life tried to strip you, and even you were even considering giving up your own life. But what was the thing that's like, I am going to be the best version of me? Was it because of the people and their hating kind of spirits, or what?
Yeah.
When we come back, I want to hear that.
Mhm.
We'll be right back.
Okay.
Dr. Gail James will be right back right after this break. Wow. Good stuff, too.
Nothing says I love you more than final expense insurance whole life protection with funeral advocacy nationwide, saving you and your family 30 to 80% off funerals and cremations. Nothing says I love you more than Getinsured.Solutions, LLC. Getinsured.Solutions, 704-499-3616.
16. Listen, make sure you all reach out to Samantha Benson with Getinsured.Solutions because she can help you with final expense life insurance. And the way that works is helping to keep more of the funds with you and the family that's alive versus having to put all of it to the burial expenses. So they have funeral advocacies and different people that they help you get lined up with. Great service, and they do literally honor their word as far as being able to provide you with what they say they're going to provide at the end of it all. So it's a big deal. All right. So tell us about some of your motivating factors.
So number one would be that God didn't just save me for me to sit. And so because he didn't save me for me to just sit, all that I went through was so that I can help somebody else come out. And
Okay.
so I make sure I have a nonprofit named Sanctuary of Change Incorporated, and that directly helps women that have been through domestic violence
Okay.
and sexual abuse. And we provide free therapy services. We relocate them if necessary from the abusive situations, and we help them with legal services.
Wow. And that's all for free?
Mhm.
That is awesome. Okay, because I definitely need you to put in the comment section too, maybe during one of the upcoming commercial breaks, how people can stay connected with you so that they'll know how to utilize your services. So that's a great service. So you do that, you do the group home, you do the mental health, you do
The
these
home
free
health.
services.
Home health also. I would say my motivation, like I say, God, number one, my daughter, number two. My daughter is my biggest fan. And so everything I do, I think about her because a
Mhm.
lot of people think they have a short lifespan, but
Right.
Down syndrome have a short lifespan, but not cerebral palsy. My daughter can outlive me. And so what I do, I have two other children and they are part of the business. They help run the business and they are also part of making sure their sister is okay. So we run the business together and they
Oh,
are built. And so my legacy, because God was very clear with me. He said, "You're the visionary, but the vision does not need to die with you."
that's right.
And so my boys are right under me in the business and they help run the business and they make sure their sister is taken care of.
I am
So
so proud of this. And then you get to be a mom that leads very differently than what you experience. What is your motherhood style, leadership style?
I am I am more open. So I tell my kids all the time, my favorite word to them is even on your worst day, I'm proud to call you son. Even on your worst day, I'm proud to call you daughter, which means there's nothing that you can tell me. I've gave them examples. Thank God I have great children, 25-year-old son, 27-year-old son. Don't drink, don't smoke, don't club, never did. They've been in church all their life.
Oh,
So that that is a blessing from God. But what I give them an example, I say, let me tell you something. This is what I mean by you could tell me anything. If you killed somebody, come home, tell me I'm gonna hire the best lawyer and I'm gonna turn you in.
so you're gonna turn them in though. That's you're gonna still
Yes,
hold them
yes,
accountable for the
yes.
outcome.
You still gotta be held accountable,
Right,
but I'm gonna be there for you.
right.
And so I needed them to know that there's nothing that they could do that's so bad that
Right.
mom will turn against them.
Hmm.
There is nothing. And so I also teach them. I teach them how to be leaders. The number one rule in my house is be a leader and not a follower. Because
That's
I tell
good.
them, you may lead somebody to heaven, but somebody can lead you to hell if you don't know where you're going.
That's good. Good advice. Very good advice. Good sound advice as a mother. Wow. Well, I see on your Facebook page here a cover. Is that you with any of your children on it? And the two
We-
gold jackets?
Oh yes, yes. Those are my children. Those two boys. Actually, it's three boys. So the boy with there's two boys with dreadlocks. Those are my two, the 25 and the 27-year-old. The 27-year-old one is with all the beards in his face. And the 25-year-old one's the other one. And then my other son, who is the oldest, true marriage, is also on there. And the youngest son has his wife with him. The other son has his girlfriend with him.
Oh, okay. Because I'll put it up if you want me to. I don't want to put anything.
You can.
Because I'm like, I don't want to put anything without permission. Because usually, I get the photo sent to me. So I'm like, this is some good stuff. I love to
You
put it up.
can. And I
Hold on.
think you should see my daughter on there because she just had her birthday party.
Well, I actually have I have a younger picture, so I'll put that up that I see, and I may not be having the right photo, so
That's nice.
hold on, let's see. I try to utilize my skills
Yeah.
behind the
Okay,
scenes, but
so
I don't.
that's my two boys and their significant others at my 50th birthday party.
Look at you, look like a beautiful queen.
Thank
Oh
you.
my gosh. Okay, and then I saw this picture.
Oh, that's me in all. That's the one in my lap is my youngest boy. The one on my side is my oldest boy, and that is Abby, my princess, in the chair sitting.
Oh, I just was like, you're talking so much about your inspiration being your family. And I was like, let's see if I could get a picture right quick to pop up during this conversation. This is nothing short of miraculous. And I see comments that's come in that speak to that God really, really spared your life. And yes, this is so beautiful, beautiful family. She's definitely needed today. So many hurting families that need to be healed. Yes. So many hurting people. And my mom said beautiful family as well. What advice would you give to families that are dysfunctional and broken like this? This is unfortunately happens, and you're here to tell us how maybe we can get through some of this, even on the receiving end, because you were one of the recipients of this, and then also advice to parents that are blaming their kids. It's like,
Yes,
come on,
yes.
what advice?
I would say that you need to be open to hear.
Mhm.
Um, I think my mother just didn't want to believe that. Just didn't want to. Okay, no, this could not be happening in my family.
Wow.
And so I think parents should be their mind and their hearts should be open. They to hear what their kids have to say, and for the kids, I would say tell your story. The reason I say be willing to tell someone that safe, that person, this is what's going on, and be okay with it, because I'm a firm believer of identifying what you're feeling, that emotion,
Yes.
acknowledging that emotion, and then giving yourself the okay to feel it. Um, in mental health, I tell my clients a lot of times that you're going through something. It's a process, but you need to have support is the
Mm.
biggest. And for me, that's why I opened the mental health practice, because I didn't have support at the time. I felt like I was just a one-man band fighting it by myself. And to be coming from a family so large and not have one person in your corner was
That's
hard.
devastating.
Yeah, very
That's
hard.
and then broken body parts. It's just by the grace of God that you literally survived. Because
You know,
internally you were being violated, and externally being violated, but God gave you a sense of resilience to be able to still just push through, become a multimillionaire, and be able to inspire other people on this journey. Your message is just, ooh, it's amazing. It's earth shattering, is what it is.
I
Um,
give God all the glory, because I tell people all the time, I say, I remember like just asking God, like, you just put me on this earth to be abused. Like, I'm sick of this, God. I'm out. I'm
right.
out. I'm done. And even when everything was done, then I started having health issues. I had 6 strokes. I had lupus. I done had blood clots 9 times. Seizures behind the wheel. They took my license. It was just like, I was just like, God, like, oh no, this is crazy.
Right. That's a lot.
I
But
was like,
you
God,
still
I'm done.
held on,
Yes, I did.
and you're
I did.
here. You're here today to tell this story. Wow. Okay, so your greatest joy, I want to hear in your, I think I already know the answer, but what is your greatest joy?
My greatest joy is my children.
Of
My
course, I already knew the answer. I could
my
tell.
children.
Oh, and why are you so grateful? Yeah, tell me why you're so grateful.
I am grateful because I know that God didn't have to do it. I didn't have to be here. He chose to let me live. Even when I wanted to take myself out. You know, I look at self and be like, yeah, I drank bleach. I did. I turned the bottle up. I say, and God was so kind and caring and compassionate and loving and forgiving to me that He still didn't let me die.
Mm, mm, mm.
So all my gratitude is to God. A lot of
Mm.
people have a saying of, thank you. I said, all the glory belongs to God.
All glory. Wow.
All of it.
That's amazing. So being the person that attempted suicide twice, and actually now you see your life at this point where you're a mom, and your greatest joy is these children, and he's blessed you with these businesses. What advice would you give people to make it through those dark times that they were about to call it quits? And some people right now are willing to call it quits because life is just not what they expected.
You gotta keep pushing. The process is uncomfortable. It's discouraging, it's depressing.
Hmm.
But what God has for you on the other side, it'll all be worth it. Because nobody could have told me I'd be sitting where I am today. But when I understand,
Hmm.
now I can look and say, I understand why He made me go through this and this. Because a lot of times we're sitting here and saying, God, I want this. God, I want that. And I want it right now. And God is saying, if I gave you it right now, you would lose it. You don't have the character. You don't have the patience. You don't have the faith. You don't have the perseverance. You don't have the courage.
Mm.
So go through the process. Just continue to go through the process. I like to say, you know what? Bob, weave, and keep moving. Just don't stop. The obstacles gonna come. Bob, weave, and keep moving. Just
Mm.
don't stop. Keep that momentum going. Just keep going. I don't care if you have to take one step at a time. I don't care if you have to take one day at a time, 1 hour at a time, 1 minute at a time. Do what is necessary so you don't stop moving. Just keep going. Keep
Wow.
going.
Keep going, everyone. Keep it moving and keep going. Wow. It's some advice from someone who did just that, Dr. Gail James. And she's here to tell her story after being molested multiple times by multiple family members, and broken arm, group home, pretty much willing to give her own life up by trying to commit suicide. She's still here to inspire you and to tell you that obviously this too shall pass, and then God can do some tremendous things with you if you go ahead and yield to his will. Wow. Okay, listen, today's episode is also sponsored by one of my sons. He's 18 years old. His name is Jeremiah J. Jacobs, and he literally is a sponsor of the Kim Jacobs Show. And what he does is he just had a big Make-A-Wish. It's all been all over the news and stuff, but big Make-A-Wish reveal where his dream is to meet the wealthiest African American male, Robert Smith, in America. So he has that coming true as his dream wish, and I'm so honored and thankful to Make-A-Wish. I'll put all kind of videos and photos, you name it. It was a really big deal for the reveal just recently, so you'll get a lot more information about that. But I want to take a moment and just go to him as our episode sponsor. He also just graduated with honors, and I'm gonna pop him up and let you hear from him. All right, here we go. Jeremiah J. Jacobs.
A web designer and also a web developer. Odds are you're a business owner watching this video. If so, you may be struggling with digital marketing and or building the right website for your business. But that's where I come in, to help you build a website that you're proud of and also hit your target audience. So let me help you build the better business you deserve. For examples of websites that I've worked on, check out my website, jeremiahjjacobs.com. That website in itself is also an example because I built it, and it's an example of a one-pager. To get more information on the plans that I offer, contact me at info@jeremiahjjacobs.com. I repeat, info@jeremiahjjacobs.com. That is my email, not a website. So hopefully you guys have a great day, and I hope to hear from you soon. Bye.
That's jeremiahjjacobs.com. And you can also check out his theblackfisherman.com is also a site that he has as well. All right. What I hear you like to skate. So it's some fun stuff that you like to do over there too. Tell us, so we don't want just all tell us.
That's funny because I used to skate as a little girl and I forgot. I thought you can't forget. I just hadn't done it in a while, and now when I go, I have to hold on to the rail. But I love it so much, so I keep going and holding on to the rail. So I asked them, "Can y'all give me one of them little PVC pipe things, them little children?"
With the road, so you're that person. Oh my gosh, I need footage of that. So you're the person, and you're holding on like you're one of the children, and you're holding on to the walker thing. Well, you know what? The funny part is, Dr. Gail, I actually had the same experience. I love skating, and I used to be like skate, even back skate. Hey. I was like, oh, take my shoes off the skates and go in the middle of the floor to Planet Rock, and we like, hey, it's the show stuff. Back in high school, you go and dance in the middle. Girl, I have some custom made little skates that some of my family had got me. I was out in the garage. I was like, yes, I'm gonna start practicing. Why did I fall and went up in the air, fell back, and did not have my cell phone on me? I'm out there screaming, help me, I'm falling. I fell. Somebody got to help me. And one of my sons came out. He was like, what in the world? I said, I fell. And I thought I knew how to skate, which I thought I did, but I must have forgot.
Apparently you forgot. You lose it some way. Because I'm trying. I'm like, Lord, I thought when you learn, you don't forget.
I thought the same thing. Now you say, how do people stay connected with you? Because I don't have that information back here and I want to pop it up.
Okay. They can go to my website at www.real Dr. Dr. Gail Gail James JAMES.com. Or they can go to Facebook. I'm Gail K. James on Facebook, and also on Twitter, I'm Gail K. James, and Instagram, I'm Gail K. James. LinkedIn, I'm Gail Bedminster James.
Okay, so you said the real doctor, is doctor spelled out?
No, just DR.
So the real drjames.com or Gail K. James on Facebook and Twitter. And what else did you say on Instagram?
The real Dr. Gail James, not just James. Gail, the whole name is in there.
Oh, Dr.
First name, last name.
James. Okay, I'm typing all of this. So, or Gail K. James on Facebook and Twitter, or what else on Instagram?
On Instagram is Gail K. James also.
Oh, okay. So on all of those, it's yeah, okay.
Yeah,
All
LinkedIn
right.
is
So
the
you
only
all
one.
definitely want to stay connected. And do you willing to talk to people when they reach out to
Oh,
you?
most
And
definitely. Most
so even
definitely.
if you don't, if you say I'm not calling no national suicide hotline, I'm not calling no national domestic violence hotline. If you decide that that's the case, that you're not going to do that, definitely connect with Dr. Gail James. She wants to connect with you, and she is so honored to be able to share her expertise and just be a listening ear. The real Dr. Gail James.com. The real Dr. Gail James.com. This is for podcast listeners too that's not seeing the screen. Or Gail K. James on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. That's how you stay connected with Dr. Gail James. Woo! This was a whole roller coaster ride here.
It was. It was. It was. It's a
I was
lot,
not
but
prepared for this.
I am so honored because it's like you said, and I want to reiterate that because they call me the uncommon therapist because I don't do what other therapists do. Like you have my cell phone number, you call. If you call me in the middle of the night, which I've done before, and you trying to do something that's not, I'm on my way. I'm getting in my car with my pajamas on, coming to your house. Like, no, you're not going to shoot yourself tonight. No, you're not going to kill yourself tonight. And, some of my peers are like, you are crazy. Like, I would just call 911. I said, well, you know what? I just want to make sure I could sleep at night. When I was going through that, I wanted somebody that would answer the phone and talk me through it. So I'm that kind of therapist. I'm not your normal therapist, but I'm okay with that because this is the calling God gave me. And
That's
so
right.
I'm
And we
okay.
all have the gifts and the talents that God expects us to use to salt this earth. So this is the one that she is using. And yes, I put how you can stay connected with Dr. Gail James. And I do see a lot of thank yous coming in. Thank you so much for sharing your story, Dr. Gail James. And remember to stay connected with her at therealdrgailjames.com or on social media, Gail K. James. And all of you all that are in the studio audience, I see you laughing about the skates, Justine Hilliard. I did see Jeremiah on the news. God has blessed him, and congrats. Thank you so much. Yes, I'm so honored. So yes, okay, all of you all that tuned in, thank you all, and make sure you share this broadcast with your friends. If people often ask how you can support the Kim Jacobs Show, literally the way that you support the show is by donating, and it's scrolling across the screen. You can do that at Cash App $ Kim Jacobs Inc. or Venmo. You can do PayPal, paypal.me/Kim Jacobs Inc. or Venmo at the Kim Jacobs Show. And I really appreciate when you all support it financially, because this is the only way that I'm able to pay people like that help backstage and help with all the flyers and the things, the subscriptions and stuff that you all get to see. So that's where the funds go for that. And we appreciate you all. Thank you for being my very special guest today, Dr. Gail.
It was a pleasure.
You are amazing inspiration, and I'm glad you're here to tell your story. Stay backstage. I'll talk with you for a few more minutes. And everybody have a great rest of your day. See you tomorrow at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bye-bye. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show and for being in the virtual studio audience. Your presence truly does make a difference, and I look forward to you bringing your friends and family to join you in the virtual studio audience Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time.